welcome to Republic Polytechnic Student Council first ever YouTube video. So the start of this YouTube will be a podcast. So my name is Teck Seng.
And I'm Vaish K. And so today's podcast is going to be about mental health. And as you guys all know, kids like us these days, students are suffering from mental health because of different things like academics, family, CCA, a lot of things to juggle. So our topic for today is going to be about overcommitment that is affecting our mental health. And for that, we have a student on board together with us. And her name is Zayna. So Zayna?
Hi guys, I'm Zayna Hashim. I'm from the Diploma in Financial Technology and I'm in year 3 right now.
You want to go for the first question?
So nice to meet you, Zayna. This is our first time interacting. So just to get know a little bit more about you, are you currently interning or doing your FYP this semester?
I'm going to start my intern on Monday.
Oh, on
So,
Monday.
yeah, I'm going to start intern.
How are you dealing with it?
Okay, I think I'm like mentally prepared to go to the office and stuff, but I'm still quite nervous because it's going to be my first day of working, and yeah, I guess it's just a new experience.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But okay, in terms of your poly life, I'm sure it would have been very colorful. So what are the commitments that you have had so far?
Like CCA wise?
Yeah, CCA wise, events wise, or whatsoever you want to talk about.
CCA wise, I have officially 4 CCAs. So I'm in SOI Club, RP Radiate 909, Archery IG, and Globalite IG. And besides CCA, I'm also a student leader for the FinTech Entrepreneurship Program, which is a program under my diploma for SOI students.
That's a lot. That's really a lot. But what is the Globalite?
Okay, Globalite is this new IG, and honestly, I have not done any events under them. I'm just a member. Mm-hmm. So right now, I'm just waiting for them to like do events, and I'll join them. But I think that's the one I'm least active in.
Okay, cool. So actually, how do you juggle your commitments? Because like for SOI Club, because like Student Council is also a club. Mm-hmm. We have like meetings every monthly basis and whatsoever. So it's kind of okay unless there are like events. And I believe archery is quite like texting,
intense,
right? Because like it's intense. 3 days per week.
Yes.
Yeah. How's it going?
I mean, okay, so I'm the most active in RP Radiate 909 right now. But in year 2, I was the most active in SOI Club and archery, and that was a very draining period of my time because in SOI Club I was one of the vice presidents, so I had to support. I was in the marketing team, so I had to help them promote events and like help them MC and stuff. So at that point, I think it was the most difficult to juggle because unlike SE, we don't have weekly meetings. It's more of just the exco, and each division's planning team will do the events and then you execute it. So it wasn't like a weekly sort of thing, but when we did have events, it was like almost every day or every other day we'd be meeting to finalize stuff and to rehearse and things like that. So that was a bit stressful. And for archery, well, I've been doing it since secondary school, so initially I didn't feel that drained by it, but as the academic like stress piled on, I was like, 3 days a week is a bit too much. So I used to go like once or twice a week, and then after a certain point I decided, okay, I think I'll take a backseat from archery for a while since I've been doing it for so long, and try out new things.
Okay.
Like with all these commitments, you have your school staff, you have your IGs, you're the vice president of student SOI.
Yeah.
So how would you deal with all these commitments that you have and also do well academically in school?
Okay, so for me to do well in school, I always just made sure I finished my deliverables on time. I tried my best not to get extension unless like I really needed it, but it is like quite difficult to balance it, especially when like your specialization modules come in and then like everything gets a lot more tough. I will say that I'm not trying to brag or something, but like I didn't struggle that much with like my coursework until like this year or like last semester. But a lot of my friends who were in like SOI Club, they would like take breaks from the CCA just to focus on the academics, especially when it was during the GA period or exam period. They wouldn't come for CCA sessions, and honestly that's totally fine. So it's more of the priority is always the academics, not your CCA.
Yes, that's true. Okay, so like personally, I'm also from SOI Club. I'm under the community division. So what is the commitment like between different portfolios? Is it one portfolio has more commitments than the other, or?
Oh, well, I guess Yeah, it really depends on the division you're in and like how committed you are to the event. So community has a lot of events, and from what I remember, they did a lot of events for kids, and that required a lot of like rehearsing and a lot of like intense planning because you have to make sure that the children will understand. And then I think tech and industry, that division was also very active because I mean we're School of Infocom. We have to have events for the tech students, right? But the less more like I would say more chill ones were health and fitness and peer support leaders, which was those divisions were only more active whenever we had events. So yeah, you're right. It's like it kind of depends on the timing, but every division has like their own level of commitment, and I wouldn't say one is more important or like more stressful than the other, but it really depends on like what event is going on. And of course, like when it came to marketing, my division, it was more of just as a support for every division to like make sure everyone's events are going well and to like promote and everything. So I found that a bit stressful sometimes because there was a point in time where a lot of the divisions were having events around the same time, and like my division was like working overtime. I was to text them and be like, guys, we need an EDM by tomorrow night, and like if my members couldn't do it, I have to stay up and do it. So that part was a bit too much, but I mean now that I've stepped down, I would say like it's I can like see it from like an outside person's view, and I think it's okay. Yeah.
Also, right, you mentioned you have a lot of commitments right now, 4 CCAs, right? So, wait, sorry. So, amongst all these 4 CCAs that you have had, your first reason as to why you want to go into all these CCAs because you want to explore, is it? Or is it like, do you find it a way of escapism into certain commitments that you have had? Like, for example, like, I don't know, family. So.
I mean, okay, each CCA had like a different reason, if that makes sense. So I joined archery because at that point, like once I graduated secondary school, archery was like my whole identity. Like that's all people knew me for, is like the girl who shoots and goes for competitions and stuff. So that's why I joined it in RP, and like I was like I want to become captain. Like I was super ambitious in my first year, and then I got injured, which is when I was like I couldn't shoot for a while. So that's when I explored SOI club. I saw an email and I was like, okay, why not? And it was COVID period, so I really didn't know what else to do. So I gave that a shot, and I really liked it. And that's when like I had like my first MC experience because I had to MC for welcome program for SOI. So I was like, oh, and like I did a really bad job. Now I know I did a really bad job, but like it was, I think it opened up, like it made me realize that I actually like being on stage. Because before this, I thought like, I mean, I do have stage fright, but I was too terrified to even try public speaking. And it was through SOI Club where I met a friend who was in Radiate, and that's how I learned about Radiate. And this year was when I joined Radiate. And for Global Light, I think at that point I just wanted more things to do. And you were right, there was a little like family issues here and there, and I wanted to have excuses to not be at home. So that was the reason I joined Global Light at that point. And also I was really curious because I mean as a foreigner in like Singapore, like I wanted to know like what this IG does to help other foreign students, and I wanted to see what I could do there as well.
Inspiring.
With all these commitments that you have you ever hit a point where you felt that you just couldn't take it? And if so, right, like how would you deal with that situation?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think last semester, it was year 2. It was year 2 where I had like way too much going on with archery because I had like almost recovered from my injury, and I wanted to like really get back on track and like go back into competitions, but I didn't give my chance to like take baby steps. I just jumped into the deep end, and I started going for training 3 days a week, and I started pushing myself too hard, which actually resulted in me getting injured again. But yeah, it was that, and at that point we had orientation program, and my division was really busy along with the PSL division in SY Club to like come up with content and like recruit people and things like that. And we also had a lot of fintech entrepreneurship program, like FEP events going on. So at that point I had almost like no time for myself, and I found myself like breaking down very often and like not getting enough sleep. And so I tried my best not to let my grades slip, but then like the occasional, like I saw a bee, like bees come out, and I was like, oh no, I need to like keep myself in check. So at that point, I decided that I'm going to like start rejecting offers from like advisors. Like sometimes they'd say, Zayna, can you run this event? I'll be like, no, I cannot. And before that, I didn't know how to say no because I didn't want to disappoint like my lecturers or my advisors. But it came to the point where I had no choice to, because if I didn't do that, I don't know what like would have happened to me. I might have like, my grades would have gone really bad, and like mentally I was not okay. Like I was just really tired and exhausted, and it made me really anxious all the time as well. So to overcome like all that, I just took a step back and like went for training less, and yeah, I think that's what it mainly is.
What about when you're in the moment? What do you do to cope with it at that instance when you feel overwhelmed, anxiety?
Oh, okay. I called my mom.
Oh,
I called my mom. This one time I was really anxious. I called my mom and I started crying in the Grab. But it's either that or I call my friends. Or sometimes I will like just go to Starbucks or something and hang out with them after school. It's more of like something not related to what I'm doing. Just escape for a while and then come back to it.
But does that actually help you, or is that more like more of renting out kind of a session?
Yeah, it's more of a renting out kind of a session. It's more like a short-term relief. But in the long term, like once I meet my friend afterwards, then I see my phone and I'm like, the to-do list is just still there, and I'm like, oh no. And then I'm back to like that stress state, but obviously not as anxious or whatever.
So like, I'm sure a lot of our peers will be having the same kind of problems, right? Because like, our RP life is like 24/7 because we have deliverables every day to submit and everything. So in terms of commitment level wise, everybody's different, but coping level wise, I think you mentioned a good point about speaking up. So some people can be like very introverted, they keep everything to themselves, right? How about them? Like, what do you think can be a coping method for them in terms of mental health?
Oh yeah, you're right about that, because I have a lot of friends who don't actually say what's wrong until like you see them about to break, right? I mean, as their friends, if you notice something's off with them, you can just ask. But for the introverts themselves, if you don't want to approach people, something that helps me is writing. Like, not like poetry or something, but like just writing out whatever I'm going through. I just type in like my Telegram saved messages. Because there are sometimes where you want to break down and then like no one's available to listen. You're just there like, okay, I have myself right now. So that helps. Sometimes it's buy yourself some ice cream. I do that sometimes. Buy myself some ice cream or some chocolate. Yeah. Treats. I like anything like sweet and sugary. So do something you like. And that helps me. But obviously for every person it's different. So find what makes you feel better and just do that.
I mean, to be honest with you, writing has really helped me.
Right?
I write in my phone notes. And I think that's a great reason why my phone storage is full at the moment. It's like I just write it all.
Oh my god, same. And then you like lock the notes also.
Yeah.
So no one reads it.
It happens.
But I guess different people have different ways of dealing with stress. Some people, the way they deal with stress is a little bit more unhealthy. They wouldn't speak out to people. They would just deal with stress in a very fast way, in the sense that they would just go and smoke a cigarette or like find other more unhealthy ways of coping with it. So personally, if you were to give an advice to people that are using this kind of unhealthy ways, what would you say to them?
Oh, well, okay, that's a bit difficult because I mean I know everyone has different struggles and wouldn't exactly know what their struggle is, but I mean I'm not gonna lie, I've always been, not always, but like from time to time been tempted to like, you know, smoke maybe because like my friends would be like, it makes you feel better, but then I noticed them like becoming grown dependent on that to escape, and that ends up like, I don't know, it ends up like backfiring.
Yes, it does.
So I don't really know what advice to give them because I mean I don't know what place they're in, but I would just like, I don't know, just hope. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
really don't know.
Because when you're stressed, then this is your coping mechanism. Then you end up smoking every day, and then when you want to leave it, you can't really leave it.
Exactly.
So it becomes a cycle.
A lot of my friends say, "Oh, I'll quit once I like, you know, graduate poly," and like they have not quit. So I'm like, I feel really bad. At the same time, I don't want to like invalidate like the struggles that they're going through and be like, no, don't smoke, it's bad for you. And I'm just there like, I mean, like I can't say that because what else can they do? Not everything works.
And also, like, I feel a lot of people our age, I'm kind of like moving the topic a little to
It's
social
fine.
media, okay? So, social media is a big part of our lives, technology era. So, a lot of us take social media comments or like even our posts or our friends' comments on things into our mental health because, like, in a way, it kind of affects the social media world is part of our lives. So, what do you think about that aspect? Like, how do you think people should, treat themselves like personal and professional life differently or whatsoever?
Like negative comments that they get online, is it? Or
Negative or positive, because people live a different life in social media.
Yeah.
Because like you might be like a really sad person that day, but you'll just take out your phone and be like, "Hi guys," blah 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 blah. So
That's true.
it's a different impression that we want to put out there.
I mean, I've seen a lot of like social media cleanses online, but I've never like been able to do it myself because I'm full on addicted to my phone. It's like my child. If I don't have my phone, I feel like my hand is missing.
Yeah.
It's that kind. But how do you? I think the most important thing is like remember that social media is not real at the end of the day. But so like regardless of what comments you get, like it's good to have those positive comments, but like the negative ones, like probably tell your friend about it. Like, oh my god, who is this person? Why are they saying this to me? But block them out. Like actually block them on your account itself, but also if you see them in person, try to interact with that person less and stuff like that. And if you see yourself like see your friends like, oh, they're going out, they're having fun, or they're studying, and I'm not able to do it myself because I think a lot of people struggle with motivation to like actually study. This is hard to do, but turn off your phone. Turn off your phone and put it away because you don't want to see stuff that makes you feel bad about yourself. But besides that, I don't really know exactly how to solve this issue with social media,
Yeah, I mean, like, by the end of the day, social media is just a place where you can share happiness, but it shouldn't be your life.
Exactly.
Because it's
Definitely.
definitely a virtual world. That's why they call it that. Teck Seng, do you have anything to say about it?
Social media?
Yeah.
I tend not to let what other people say online affect me because to me it's just that they're just if they're sending hate comments, then I just take it as their trolls. They don't really affect me, unless they say it to my face, then it will be a little more hurtful.
Yeah.
And then I'll talk to them last, then why they're saying this kind of thing. But usually if it's online, I won't usually entertain them.
Okay, because like a lot of people our age are trying to be influencers these days, right?
Yes.
And they take social media as their profession in a way. Then that kind of indulges into their mental health. But yeah, what do you think about like therapy?
Therapy?
Yeah, like for example, people of our age having like a lot of commitments like you, they want to seek help, but they don't really feel comfortable talking to their parents or the people that they know because like they already know them. They want to get a third person's perspective, so they go to therapists or counselors. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good thing. But like, okay, for me, I've like wanted to try it out, but it's expensive. I can't afford it and stuff like that. But I remember this one time. This is an RP. You know how RP had those like envelope thingies that like open when
Correct.
that one. I got some of them, and this one time I was having this like really bad breakdown at like 3 a.m. And like I opened one of the envelopes because it was just right there, and it gave like this helpline call, and I was like, oh my god, a helpline! As if this would actually work. I didn't really think it would. Then I called the first one, no one responded, and I was like, this is a sign. No one wants to help me, and I was really sad. And I called the next one, and the sweetest lady ever picked up. I still remember her name. Her name is Peggy. Her name is Peggy. I don't remember from when, but she was like talking to me and like making me feel better. So, I mean, therapy is like a good thing to do, and like I understand the whole wanting to talk to someone who doesn't actually know you because like then they wouldn't judge you based on like other things they know about you. Like they'll just judge what you're telling them and like help you feel better about that. So if you have the chance to go for therapy and stuff, just go for it. Like, don't be afraid. I think also like the school counselors are not bad. Like they help. It's nice to talk to someone.
How about people who want to seek help, but they don't have the guts to because they feel like nobody would want to help them? You know, some people just go through the phase where they feel like they're just useless and nobody wants to help them. Like some of our friends, you know, they just be like, oh, I don't want to talk to you. I feel comfortable talking to somebody else, but I don't feel like I want to approach anybody. I'm good on my own. But, you know, it kind of affects them in a way.
Yes, I've noticed that in a lot of my friends, and
because writing down notes is like not their thing.
It's such a difficult situation because
it is.
you want to help them, but they don't want to be helped in a way, but like they also need the help. I have a friend like that, and I tried talking to him. I tried like telling him like, talk to people, and gave him like a lot of like times where I like would try to help, but at the end of the day, if the person doesn't, I don't know how to explain it. Okay, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, because like personally, I also have friends like that when they just need someone to be physically there with them. But they just don't want to talk. So like what I try to do is like maybe if I see the person feeling like very uncomfortable in class, where they're avoiding people when everyone goes down to the canteen to eat, they just stay in class. Not even with the laptop closed, just staring in the space. Then I'll tend to go and like maybe not sit like very close to them but around them, so that just to let them know that if there's anything you can come and talk to me about it, feel free to approach me lah. So like just being there for them spiritually lah, in a sense.
Yeah, because I think especially in our RP setting, our classes keep changing every now and then, every semester. So
it's
like for example, we can have like a buddy right now, then the next semester you won't have that buddy, and then like you're coping with more stress this time around, then your buddy is not free to talk to, and then like things like that. And then these kind of people, I think introverts are affected in mental health in a very different level.
Yeah, definitely, because you feel even more alone and stuff. I remember this one time I was in that moment where like I needed help and I didn't want to take any help from anyone, and my friend saw that and she asked me like, Zayna, do you want a hug? And I was like, no, I don't want a hug right now, because I knew that if she hugged me I'd break down. And then like she came back and she was like, Zayna, I need a hug. And I was like, why are you doing this to me? But then I hugged her and then like it actually made me feel a lot better. So I think, if your friend is like comfortable with hugs and stuff, give them a hug, or like take them out. Like if they're like you said in the classroom, maybe be like, oh, you want to go 7-Eleven? I want to get a snack. And then you can just like, don't even have to talk about like what's bothering them, just talk about something else to distract them. Maybe one day they'll feel comfortable enough to open up.
The environment also plays a big part. So if they're stressed about school, right, or something related to their class, and then they just keep on staying in the classroom, it also like affects them. So like just bring them, go for a walk, maybe buy them a cup of coffee, or they'll feel a bit better.
Okay, coming to the aspect of family commitment wise, a lot of people our age kind of don't really have a good relationship with their family because of, for example, level of relatability, right? The age gap. These kind of things affect them in terms of their mental health. So what do you think can be done about that? Ignore your family members, you talk to them?
Maybe not ignore them. Okay, I have an okay relationship with my family, but I will say like there are a lot of things that they don't understand, and you're right, like it's a generational thing. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, it's my parents are not from Singapore, so they don't understand like the culture here and like how commitment to CCAs and stuff work. And I will admit sometimes I am overcommitted, and that bothers them sometimes when they're like, you're not at home that often and you keep coming home late because you have events and stuff. And I think like the only thing you can do is like try and explain it to them, but after a certain point, like if they really don't understand, don't take in what they say. And I'm still working on this myself, because it's really hard to not take in what your mom says, because like it's your mom, man, like you can't ignore her entirely, right? But like you have to like just let it not stay within you, and then do what is best for you. And then over time, usually, sometimes they tend to come around and they'll be like, oh, actually, like, it was fine that you did that. We were just really worried that, you were not sleeping, not eating. And they tend to show their worry in a kind of a way that it doesn't seem like they're worried about it, like they're angry at you, right? But like they're actually just concerned about you. And if you have siblings, so I didn't have the closest relationship with my sisters because we have like bigger age gaps. It's 4 years and 8 years, right? So I wasn't very close to them. But when there's an opportunity to bond with your siblings, if you have siblings, then like bond with them, because your friends may not be like available 24/7, but like at least your sister is
like
in the next
substitute.
room. Substitute, like just for a while,
Yeah,
just go to the
use
next
siblings
room.
because you have them.
What?
I make use of the siblings you have. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And older siblings. I don't have an older sibling, but like I always wish I had an older sibling so I can like ask someone for advice. So if you have an older sibling, make use of them.
I mean, sometimes
have
having
one, right?
older siblings can backfire,
Yeah.
They might treat you like slaves.
Oh, I do that sometimes. Sometimes I call my sister and be like, "Can you come here?" And she'll come here and like come to my room and be like, "Switch off the light." Switch off the light.
Oh no, I'm talking about another level.
Another level.
But let's not go there.
So you mentioned you were working, right?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not working.
I'm
She's
not working.
Ah,
I'm gonna
she's
go
not
intern.
working. Alright.
But what do you think about students who are having like part-time jobs,
Yeah.
right? And then they have like family, then they have like one or two
CCAs.
CCAs, let's say.
I'm actually like amazed at those students. Like I don't know how they do it. Like commit to work and family and CCA. And I have like a friend like that. And sometimes you'll see her like come for CCA sessions, and then she'll be like, "Oh, I have to go. My work is starting in like half an hour." And I'll be like, "When are you gonna rest?" And I don't know what to think about it. I'm just amazed at them because I could never commit to something that much, because at least for CCA you can like take a back seat and be like, tell your president, vice president, like, "Oh, I'm not feeling great right now, I need to take a break."
Yeah.
But for work you can't exactly do that. You have a
Yeah.
schedule, you have to go at the end of the day.
I mean, if you lose, then you lose the money.
Yeah, and like a lot of people, like they work to pay their school fees even.
Yeah, correct.
So in a situation like that, you can't even take a back seat sometimes, and I don't know how they handle it. I'm just wow.
But what would you think? I mean, like, just putting it out there, right? How about people who don't have time for themselves?
I guess it depends on everyone's personality. Some people are fine with that little bit of me time, and some people need like more time for yourself. So like for me, I need at least like a few hours for myself right before I go to bed, and at that point I do whatever I want. And I guess it depends from like person to person, but I guess it's just important to remember to not like destroy yourself in the process of like building a resume or even like grades, because I know it's like important to get good grades. A's and B's are like not easy, especially as you go to year 2 and year 3. But if you feel so drained and tired by it, then it's fine. Just get that C. Just do what works for you.
Yeah.
And
Protect
don't like
yourself.
protect yourself, because at the end of the day, like there's no point in you pushing yourself for those A's constantly, and then like imagine during ESE you fall sick, and then you have to like you're not able to like take the exam, or you're not able to concentrate during the exam and you get a bad grade. Like no one wants that either.
Yeah. And I think sometimes overcommitment is not something that we sign up for.
Yeah.
It can be given to you in like, I don't know, some way or another. Some of our friends pick up part-time jobs because of their family circumstances as well. But I think that before we the thing is that as we share happiness, right? Overcommitment sometimes can be because of happiness that you want to give other people. For example, like your family members, you want to help them financially, so you do it. But in terms of helping people, put yourself first so that your happiness flows together with them, and then they get happier as well.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
But I don't think so. A lot of people in our generation understand that self-care is as important as showing to the world that you're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because happiness, showing the happiness can be faked.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
What else?
Because personally, I have friends that they have jobs. Like I have one friend of mine. He's a classmate. He has a job. He has, I think, 3 CCAs. His exco of 2, and then he lives pretty far away,
Okay.
and he is like always free. So he will get all his work done, and he also goes to part-time job. But every time I see him, he's always playing game. Then one day I went up to talk to him. I'm like, "Bro, I see you like having so many commitments. You're working. You stay so far away from school. There's so much project. Like all of us would just be like doing work, And then he'll be like, he'll have been like done with everything. Then he'll just be sitting there chilling. So one day I was very curious. I just went up to him. I'm like, "Hey, bro, like how are you like so free? Like what is your method?" Then he sort of like, it's a very sad answer. He told me that he sort of like lost himself. So he sort of programmed himself to do. and then after that, if I'm free, then I'll come and have alone time. So basically, he told me that he went into autopilot mode long time ago already. So only when he's not doing commitments, right, he's using phone, then that's really himself. Other than that, when you talk to him, he's just
Oh no.
so it's not really him.
I think this is like a side effect of long-term problems that you have not solved in the
Definitely.
process. But does that friend of yours does he talk about problems?
He's very reserved. I think he's a bit sad, but I try to talk to him. Sometimes we do go out, but he's also very introverted, so it's hard to find a common ground to talk about.
Okay.
That's kind of like a situation where you don't want to reach. So
Yeah.
like it's always
Yeah,
important
it's
to
too
like
far.
not let yourself be the last. Like prioritize yourself of all the other things that you have to do. Because if you don't, then
Who would?
who would? Yeah, who would?
Because your parents have their own things to
Yeah.
bother of, also like siblings also.
Everyone has their own thing to take care of.
Yeah. So in terms of like school level wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have different views as to how academic can be beneficiary to your mental health. Because, okay, how do I put this? Do you understand my question?
No.
Okay, you see, for example, some of our courses, right, they actually teach us about, I don't know, like psychology,
Oh.
right?
Sorry.
They teach us a bit about psychology, and then like they teach us in schools about self-care, but they don't really mention the ways of how you can actually handle or cope with depression or anxiety, but at the same time work with your self-care.
Oh.
How about if you don't know which method works for you? How about you don't even know yourself? Like his friend lost himself, right?
Yeah.
So like, what is the first step towards finding yourself in your point of view?
In my point of view, for me, it's at that point when I was starting to struggle a lot and I didn't know what would help me. I tried different things. I tried everything. So not everything. I tried different things. I tried like talking to family. Then I tried going to like a school counselor and friends. And I wanted to see like which helped me the best. And like I also at one point attempted journaling. I attempted like scrapbooking and things too, and like whatever like people suggested, I would give it a shot. But I guess it's just a process to find what works for you, and just like reach out to those who like, even if people like seem like they have their life together, like they might be struggling, right?
Yeah.
So like make it a point to help, not just help others, but like reach out to them, see if they're okay. Then most people tend to like do it back. Like not like don't do it expecting someone to like check on you back, but like just do it, and then like most times your friends will be like, oh wait, are you okay though? Like what's going on with you? And then you can like maybe talk it out with them.
Parents wise, right? How do you think parents can help in terms of your child's mental health? And like because of the difference in age and the level of relatability, parents would not know how to talk to their children. How do you think, or like maybe like how does your mom do it with you?
For me, it's like the main thing a parent shouldn't do is assume. Like assume you know what's going on with the kid, because I think a lot of our parents still see us as like that little kid like who always needs their help, and they have trouble letting go. So they tend to be like, oh, it's just like this is what you're going through. Like why are you acting like this? They start assuming. So usually, okay, for me, what my mom does from time to time, she'll like ask me like, if she senses something is off, she'll be like, what's wrong? And like if she knows I don't want to talk about it, she'll just like leave me alone. Then like after some time I tend to like come around and I'll like tell her what's wrong. So it's more of just like giving your child the space to come to you, but like also make the effort to ask them what's wrong and not be like, you're stressed because of school, right? You're stressed because you have so much on your plate, right? Because a lot of the times some people they're not stressed because of CCA, they're stressed because of other things, and like CCA helps them. And like to assume that, oh, you're stressed because you always come home late, you don't sleep enough. Then it's even more frustrating because you're like, no, that's not it. You don't even know what's going on with me, stuff like that. So I guess just never assume and communicate and talk to your kid.
Yeah, and stress can also come from different things. Like for example, even the slightest of thing. For example, you're coming from overseas to a new school.
Yeah.
Like that can also be a stress.
Definitely.
And then in terms of not understanding the cultural background of this country, or just as you speak to your friends, you don't understand the joke, that is also like the tiniest of stress. So in terms of building a positive community, what everybody's supposed to be aware of, basic understanding, is like the key matter.
Yeah.
So as much as we speak about mental health, I think conveying it to the other person is very important. And that way, I believe that even for myself, I'm guilty that I don't speak to my mom as often, because sometimes she'll be like, "Oh, why are you so stressed out?" I'm like, "It's okay, I just feel myself." Because like sometimes you feel like, although you're trying to explain it to them, they won't get it.
Yep.
Because of the age gap, and it's kind of sad.
Especially for Asian parents, for
Yeah.
like Asian parents, they don't believe that mental illness is a thing. So when you tell them like, "Oh, I have depression," they're like, "Huh? What's that? Just go and sleep."
Sometimes it will be like, I've heard from some friends, they'll be like, "I told my mom today that blah 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 blah." Then after that, I was like, "Okay, then what did your mom say?" She was like, "Oh, during our time."
Oh
Yeah.
no.
So
I
it
don't
starts like that,
that,
and then the whole big story just goes. So
And then from them on, you will just never talk to them about your problems again.
yeah, I think that is the first step as to why children just shut down at home.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, but I feel that parents are improving over the years.
Yeah, because the new generation taking
The new
over.
generation, yeah.
They're trying now.
So
Yeah,
my mom heard from one of her friends that her friend was saying that her parents used to control her in the past, and now her children are controlling her. So life has taken a turn on her.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything else that we want to address at the moment?
No, just long enough, or we just gonna talk? We can just talk.
Okay, I think today we have shared a lot of things. Not only did we address because I really genuinely, our title is Overcommitment that affects the mental health. But I feel that we have addressed so many different parts of it that comes nicely into the package of student life, which is the most important thing, because and I'm very glad we did this during our first video, because student council is the voice of RP students, and also to speak about student life as well. And I'm so happy that all of us over here come from different CCAs as well.
Yep.
You come from 4 different CCAs. You come from what do you have?
I mean Astro, I mean Tabletop, I mean SOI, I mean SC, yeah.
Okay, I'm in SC, I'm in SOH, I'm in Astro. Yeah, I guess that's all. For
It's
now.
still quite a lot though.
Yeah.
Most people don't even do more than
But
that.
I think in terms of coping wise, everybody has been kind of okay over here,
Yeah.
at least.
I'll check on you later.
And we can actually, I work with him most of the time, and we kind of check on each other. Even like, I think the slightest of things in terms of workspace wise, like you're gonna go. So just checking if like, oh, can you do this thing by this deadline? And if everything's okay, kindly let me know if you need any help. So these kind of little nitty-gritties also can help in terms of mental health, because you know that although it may be just for word that the person's saying, because you don't know if the person really means it, it kind of helps you in a way.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I feel like in terms of communication wise, it's very, very, very important.
Time management also lah. Like you can have the whole day lah, but you can choose to do it at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, time management, I don't think so we should go there, because different people have different ways of managing time as well. And RP's a deadline every day, 2359, can be a bit taxing in terms of dealing with your time management things. I have a friend of mine, she runs out of class the minute my teacher ends the class. Like before even like class official dismissal, she just runs out. And then after that, I used to ask her, why do you always run out so quickly? What's the rush for you to go back home? She's like, my work starts in like 10 minutes. I was like, oh, okay. Then what time do you end? She's like, I'm doing closing. So I end at about 11 plus. I'm like, then your deliverables? Then she's like, oh, I always tell the facilitator to open the deliverables earlier for me. I'm like, oh my god, so committed. So she's like doing her work in class while the teacher's like talking.
That's so much though.
Yeah. So I think different people work differently, but I think that's the best for them. It's just, sometimes you just look at people and then you're just like, wow, are these people humans or
how they
robots?
do it, why I cannot.
So yeah, I think that is all.
Yeah.
Right? Zayna, do you have any closing remarks?
No, not really. Just thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming. And to all of you out here, I hope like you guys have gotten a lot of insights from whatever is spoken, because I think normally as students we don't sit down and speak about student life in the sense this way, unless we want to rant out about homeworks or friends or this and that. But thank you so much for listening.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Yes, until then, signing off. This is Vaish K.
This is Teck Seng.
And this is Zayna.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.